Hey, what's up? So, due to a couple of mishaps and mostly of the audio on my part, um, just doing a re-recording here. So, I'll talk mostly about the experience I'm having so far with the items. But this was the original packaging here, and let me get a couple of samples here from. This was the Magwell packaging, and hopefully the next one I grab, yes, will be on the full-size grip here. So that being said, I'll just mention that, first of all, when it comes to the grip, if you're more interested in that, I'll cover that right now. And then the Magwell, I got more to say later on that. And excuse the glare. So that being said, let me show you go with the grip that I have installed here. So excuse the noise, that's just some paper. But I will say that along with what it came with, and specifically it was a different screw and a washer that replaced just the screw that I had before on my previous MOE grip. A big improvement, and not just in texture and feel design, which is also a big improvement. This was also um, just flat out looks amazing on camera. In person, it looks good too. I'm not gonna, make any bones about that, but I did want to get the more extreme version that has sort of a fish type of scale into it. Maybe it's a shark um, type of pattern. But either way, that's supposed to be the most aggressive one. That's originally what I wanted, but they didn't have it in stock. So what can you do? Now, before I forget again, this actually caused me to do a re-recording on it. Driven's Armco shipping and order processing, fantastic. I ordered it on a Sunday at about like 2 in the morning because I couldn't make up my mind. Kid you not, I had 3 emails the same day, not including that was including my order process, my order being done, and my shipping information, including the tracking number that was to be shipped on the Monday that came after that Sunday. Wow. Like they put their foot on it on a Sunday morning, and I had pretty much everything processed by Sunday afternoon. Amazing. So, like, their reputation when it comes to how they handle their business as far as processing goes, A plus. Can't say I've experienced anything like that before. Maybe I have in somewhere in the past, but still, awesome service. Couldn't recommend that enough of ordering directly from their website. And this was provided to me, or at least this was purchased by me. No discount related, no favors, no nothing, no communication beforehand. Just bought it straight retail, and great experience for the shipping goes. But as far as the product itself, at least in this case for the grip, like I mentioned, I wish I got the more aggressive version, but that withstanding, I think the design of this is awesome. I think the look of it is very premium. The feel of it, as far as the texture is concerned, I would call it that it has a patterning that's very similar to the PDP, but in feel, it's more coarse, and it's textured in a way that reminds me more of the M&P 2.0 medium backstrap. Not as aggressive as the large or extra large, which I personally run on mine, but I'll probably say that's like my best description of it so far. But I do wish that was a bit more aggressive just for me, but that's just me. But like I said, this is comfortable, and I will say, aesthetically speaking, this probably takes the cake even from the less aggressive and the more aggressive options that they have for the grip. So if aesthetics is what you're chasing, look no further. This is going to be your jam. So that pretty much summarizes my feelings on the grip itself. I'm trying to think real quick if there's something else to mention. Besides that, um, so besides the different colors, I did get the Atom that was mentioned here instead of Apex, which is the softer one, or Sawtooth, which is the more aggressive one. and it's just talking about its capabilities on here. You can read that same from the website as well, but um, it's a complete enhancement on just about every front design wise that you could get above your comparable Kung Fu grip or MOEs from Magpul, that line, K2, and anything that you could get there. Because I went in store and tried to handle everything myself, including BCM, which I don't really have too much personal experience with, but I have handled. But seriously, from everything, this actually tops it as far as ergonomics go and um, design in and out, and the materials included. Just blows it out the water, unfortunately. But due to the pricing, you should expect that. So enough about the grip there. Now that doesn't mean that it will replace every other grip I have. I do still enjoy my Gradius grip as the most comfortable because it has like a rubberized texture to it. But I feel that's more necessary on my longer AR platforms, just because of the ergonomics behind it, of holding something that's a little bit softer feels better for me than something lighter that I'm gonna be pushing more aggressively. It's really more of a subjective feel type of thing, so take that for what it's worth. Now that being said, we're gonna move on to the Magwell here. So let me grab this back again. I did have the Magwell on my shorter AR, but on my regular 16-inch here, I did install the Magwell. I installed 3 of them for different AR patterns that I have. And let me go ahead and show you that quick guide here, QR code, in case you're interested as far as the instructions go. And I will say that instructions couldn't be more clear on how to install. Now, I'm still an idiot and went past the instructions as far as over tightening goes. So I'm just going to speak a quick minute or second here just on the Magwell itself and just talk about that. Feel free to skip ahead if you have done something incredibly stupid with the screw. But that being said, as far as the Magwell experience goes, how it feels, um, and yes, it's live because I'm still at home and I'm not using dummy stuff. But that being said, this is very easy. A lot easier to work with than the stock setup that I had before. And it just removes like an additional barrier that could make things a little more difficult should things get squirrely. So that being said, I think it completes the look as well. Um, got it on an off pattern compared to my other rifle, which is right behind me, but I'd say that it not just aesthetically pleasing, but also very much how can I say? It feels like it's completing my setup. So there's just something about, at least for me, this being maybe one of my few last steps on like really tricking out my rifle that I say like this completes it. So again, even though it's off color here, it still looks great. So what I do want to say here is that, well, what we're looking at right now, let me see if I can see it here. It's actually on the other side here. So I'm going to talk more about the install process over here. So just for fair warning over here that I might go on a bit of a tangent, but you'll see that gold little, um, what's the best way I could describe that? I'll call it a gold receiver, just for the lack of wording right now. But basically, that's supposed to be the end of where your screw is supposed to go. So even though you can still see a little bit of it button, excuse me, down here, but that's supposed to bring in your overall tightness and the flush point over here to a close. So that being said, if you have gone past that, it's going to look a little bit more on a receding line. So let me grab this one here for an example and turn that around. So in this case, if you see it there, it receded a bit inside, but it didn't go halfway across from one end to the other. That's okay. This is still firm. It's not going anywhere. But, and I believe this happened on my second install. The one I just showed you was my first try, which went okay. But my second one, I didn't feel as much of a resistance as I did in the first one, and I ended up going too far. So in this case, let me get the right orientation here. You won't see it on this side. Like, you don't see any gold there at all, because what I did was I overscrewed it, and it screwed itself, twisting in all the way to the other end. So that being said, the way, if you're at that point and you went as dumb as I did, just take the screw out, insert it from the other end. Now, that being said, there's a silver detent that's actually fixed on that opposite end. Let me see if I can show it to you here. It won't be easily visible, but it's closer to the middle inside that spacing. So in the middle, there's a silver receiver as well for the screw. Now, when you're going from the opposite end, it will screw in permanently. So once you reach that point, there's a point of no return. Okay. So I had my screw stuck there, inserted all the way with this part bifurcated, and the screw was too long to finish screwing on the other end where the gold portion was on the reverse end. So once you hit that point, you have no choice but to cut the screw. So I had to run out to Harbor Freight and buy a bolt cutter. I bought an 8-inch model that was $8 just to get it over with. And I went ahead and cut my screw in half. Then I cut a quarter, and then I cut a little 2 section, like 2 loops, and then it's done. Now it's flush now, and it's tight. But I had to work around it, and the instructions are much clearer than I took for granted. But just in case, if you go through that issue, it is not too late. It's not over. You can still work with it, and you just have to, suck it up. But that being said, I feel that every dollar I spent so far is not wasted. This is quality stuff. I wouldn't turn to any type of, I hate to say off-brand, but I'm trying to think of an alternative. Knockoff is the word I was looking for, but I wouldn't turn to anything else but from Driven Arms Co. I already used my stickers, but there was a Run DAC sticker. There was another sticker for, I believe, just the company itself. I forgot exactly what it said, so forgive me on that. And then there was a little like warranty plaque. But that's been in my experience so far from my purchase with Driven Arms Co. Like I mentioned before, in this one, it's not going to replace this Gradius grip for me. This is more comfortable. Just a different mission that I'm going for on here. But I recommend those grips in general. I recommend the company in general for what they do, and I appreciate the purchase that I made. And that's all I got so far. So hopefully no audio issues this time. But thanks for checking it out, and hope you have a safe, happy Mother's Day, and I'll see you later.